Ta-da! Yeah, no intro, no nothing. Because this is not Mental Health Matters yet. But some of y'all just got, well, sorry, those of you watching this are probably watching the replay. However, what is this? This is the pregame show. This is the, Brooke has nothing to do because she's about to do a pre-recorded video where you're going to get to meet my friend Klint Macro. So, why am I here early? Just to mess with you, for real. For those of you who are like, wait, it doesn't start till 9. You're right, it doesn't start till 9. Oh, but no, today is different. Why is today different? Well, because it's a little bit longer. It's actually not as long as I thought it was. It's actually only an hour. But because our friend Hillbilly has his show at the top of the hour, I wanted to make sure that we were actually done by the time Hillbilly starts his show. So, that's our plan. So for right now, y'all are just here for the fun of it, and why not? Hello, Chris. How are you? Would you like to join me in here? We are just gonna chat here and there. Oh, I don't want to do that because then if I do that, then you will not you. Sorry. Yeah. What am I trying to say? Uh, I was going to throw up a link, but this is the live, or will be the live at 8:50 as advertised. So, I'm so close. I almost just threw up the link because it would be great, except for the fact if a troll comes and I can't kick them out because I'm not that savvy with that sort of thing. So, here we are. Hello, Miss Abigail. How are you? How is the lovely weather down in the hot, sweaty parts of America? I don't know. It was pretty humid here, but nothing like where you are. And build any good guns lately? That's what we can talk about today. Because this is just pre-gaming. We are pre-gaming the Klint Macro Mental Health Matters because I think it was a good interview mostly. I'm not going to lie. We're always our harshest critic. I think I talk too much. Imagine that, me talking too much. Who knew? But anyway, yeah, here we are, just waiting, just killing time, doing nothing. How was everybody's day? It is Saturday, so did you have the day off? Are you like me? You work on the weekends? How does this all go? Hey, audio's kind of low. Well, it is my laptop. So maybe I should talk better. I don't know. If I sit up and do that, then, I've only got 20 minutes to go. So let me know, Rob. Is that good? Look at you. You got your little Rob New York out there. And is that? Wait, I need to know. Is that where you live? The little red dot that's in your thing? Because I'm like, I thought you were closer like Buffalo. Although, to be fair, if the little red dot is actually you, then you're kind of smack dab in the middle of New York State. Getting paid for your work is always a good thing. I don't think I ever got a picture of your purple gun, by the way, ma'am. So I would love to see that. And you can send it to Brooke at agss.com. Because, why? Because it's on the internet. It's on my webpage. So it's not like I can get doxxed if I tell people what my email is. Oh, wait, and if I'm super fancy, I could do a thingy that actually says that. Ready? All right. Anybody who wants to email me can do it at gss.com. Because guess what? Oh, wait. Helps if I actually put the darn thing up. There you go. Ta-da! There you go. All right. So, it is August. Welcome to August, August 1st. And, all right. All right. Sorry. See, because DJ is not here because he knows that I'm doing pre-record. And so all of that. All right. So yeah, I don't know how to adjust my volume here. And, oh, yeah, no, it's not. It is not showing up well. Let me see. Edit mic settings. Echo cancellation, reduce mic background noise, automatically adjust mic volume. Do I should I turn that off? If I do this, I'm looking for little green dots when I'm talking, because normally you see them. I don't know. Is that any better? All right, so here's a challenge we have. If I turn that up, then I don't know what the audio is going to be like when we do the video. But, you know, y'all will tell me, because I have to be here apparently, because it's not going to actually just play, which is what I thought was going to happen 2 weeks ago. That didn't happen. And then I'm like, oh, I think I set it up right. I did not set it up right. All right, so a little bit south of the dot. Gotcha. Well, New York is a large state after all. You're still probably 4 to 6 hours away from me, because I used to go to school in Lake Placid, New York, and I think that was a 6-hour drive from where we are, roughly, give or take. So I think you're that way. But yeah, it is far, far away from most everything. It did get a little better. Okay, sounds okay on Abigail's side. All right. Well, the good news is you're not going to have to listen to me for very long. And hello, Miss Taryn. I didn't say hi to you. I saw your little thing, but I was looking at other things because Mr. Outcast, New York Outcast, not Mr. Outcast, said I was not. So, you know, enunciate and all of those things that my grandmother taught me to do. All right, so let's see. What the heck? Owes me $7.50. Had to put the purple rifle on. Oh, nuts. All right, I did not know. I thought the purple rifle was already done. So, but anyway, now you have email. Oh, yes, and y'all can send me birthday wishes, because August. That's why I started to say, welcome to August. Oh, you're practically neighbors. Wait, that is 170 miles. Me in Harwington or Lake Placid. I'm not sure which thing we're talking about. This is the challenge with us actually not talking. So anyway, yes, this month, birthday month, love birthday month. And without DJ here, I don't know how to take things up and down. So yes, ta-da! I will get this. All right, so yeah. August 1st. Welcome to August. Warm, summer, dry, usually, except it rained all day. And I keep making, yes, Lake Placid. Got it. Yeah, so we're on the other side, but we're right on the edge there. So it's like in your little NY, not that I can put a mouse on there, but you know, where it drops down. We're right over, just barely over the corner. I think I'm 30 minutes, 45 minutes from the New York border to Connecticut. So used to go across and then up through Albany and keep going till you're almost to Canada, and that's how you get to Lake Placid. For those of you who are watching who are not from New York and don't know. So, see, Rob, if I had thought many years ago, how many years was that? 2 or 3 years ago? I think it might be 3 years ago now. Nadia and I just went on a road trip so she could get miles and hours for her driver's permit. And so our road trip was go up through Massachusetts, go up a couple 4 hours to Grandma's in New Hampshire. Then we drove across Vermont and across and down New York and went to the Niagara Falls. So first time in my life, and she and I got to see Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls in the winter is some chill, and there's not a lot of people, and nobody went over the falls in a barrel. What is up with that? But then on our way down, we came back, and then that was the visit our shooting friends, and so we surprised barbecue. Although I had his address, and I showed up there, and there's no cell tower in where barbecue lives. Like, you have to go another mile past, because it's like, it was late, it was dark, I wasn't about to go knock on some person's door without verification I was at the right place. So it's like we got to barbecue's place, and then we had to keep going till we got cell reception again. We did find him for real though, and he was surprised, so that was fun. And then we came across Pennsylvania on the way back and stopped in to see my girl Kelly and Pigeon. And so yeah, it was fun. So anyway, so all of that over Lake Placid. Okay, happy birthday. Yes, thank you. I am looking forward to it. It's, for those of you who don't know, August is the most births in the Northern Hemisphere. So, go back 9 months, November, December, it's getting chilly. I can actually tell you. So, well, I'm not going to go there. So, for August, it is August month for many reasons. It used to be my grandfather's birthday when he was still here. Then my nephew Charlie's birthday is coming up. My sister-in-law, Aunt Margaret, my husband's sister. There we go. Because I have another sister-in-law who also has her birthday in August. Then there's my daughter. Then there's me, and then there's my sister-in-law Jen, who is my brother's wife. Because that's sister-in-laws that can go either direction. So that's just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Now, I have friends, Matt Smith, who has the birthday on the same day as I do. He's down in Florida. You might run into him sometime. You never know. So, yes. Uh-oh, my mouse is stuck. There we go. Yes, we should celebrate. Oh, that's right. You and I could actually go do something because it's like a Tuesday. We could do, maybe we could do Monday. Anyway, we'll figure something out, Taryn, without a doubt. Who knows, maybe I'll actually get caught up on my massages. So, Binghamton? Binghamton. Sorry. I'm like, it's like hors d'oeuvres. If you look at it for too long and try to say it, oh my goodness. So not so great. And yes, it was a fantastic and great memory. Ooh, since we're just killing time for another 8 minutes before I said this is officially going to start, let me see if I can find a picture real quick. Oh, no, because bad people in the world make two-factor authentication for everything. And it's just not. Oops, that's not going to work. All right, so if I could do it quickly and effectively, that would be new and exciting. But sometimes not so much. And yeah, so maybe instead, hold on, what did we say? So I know it was December. Let's go to 2023. 23. And September, October, November, December, January, back, December. Is this the one? Well, I got a fox on the side of the road. That's not it. And it was after Christmas. So can I find them super fast? November, is this going up or down? December and Christmas. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Oh yes, here we go. Ready? I don't know. There's some kind of silly pictures here. So let's see if I can share the screen. So anyway, hey DJ. Yes, sorry. I found out that I messed up, so I have to be here live to get this started. But I figured I'd do this pre-gaming show, and can I share just the screen? Maybe not. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, I think I have it. Are you all ready? Would you like to see? Here is one of the pictures. How silly is that? So there it is, folks. If you've never seen Niagara Falls, this is what Niagara Falls looks like in the winter. Notice there's not lots of people. And yes, much to my sadness, there was also not anybody. Oops, wait, I shared the wrong thing. I'm talking about it. You can't even see what the heck I'm looking at. Sorry, guys. Yes, much to my chagrin, there is nobody going over the falls in a barrel, because I thought that was like really supposed to be a thing. So let's see. That was one of the silly photos, and there's another one, and it's a little bit windy. My hair doesn't actually just stand up on end just by all itself. So there's Canada. Oh, there it goes. There's Canada. Dun, dun, dun. There's a bridge. And then back in America. All right. There it goes. There's Canada. Hold on. Sorry. Dun, dun, dun. There's a bridge. This is the problem with I'm not planning. All right. There she is. because remember, the whole purpose of the trip was so she could get whatever that's called, driving hours in. That was back when my little car was brandy spanky new, and it was not over 100,000 miles on it. Okay, 4 minutes left. I've shared things with you all. You got to see some stuff. What else? What else? And yeah. Fun and excitement. All right, birthday month is super cool. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't finish telling you the August thing. Most babies are born in August, so this is when Mother's Day should be, because everyone becomes a mother in August, or at least a lot of people become mothers in August. And if you think about it, there's millions of billions of people on this earth, and there's only 365 days most of the years. I do have a friend who was actually born on the 366th day, because she was born during leap year. So it's sort of one of those weird things. So when we're going to talk about birthday trivia, imagine for this month we might get a lot of birthday trivia, because yes, I will absolutely. What is this? So sorry. Like, I hit something and this thing popped up saying, "Great Start Shooting School, new to streaming, look to level up, check out StreamYard and get $10 discount." But yeah, I don't know about that. You do not, if you want to, of course you can. In theory, they give me a discount if you use my link. But, anywho, I said this was going to be an hour and a half. See, and where is G23 when we're going to make it extra special long? That is the question. I should have emailed him, invited him personally, given him a link, all of those things. All right. Oh, DJ, you know what I found out today? I can do something. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Ready? So, in 2 more minutes, when it's time, we're going to do drum roll. Did you know you could do that? I did not know I could do this. While I was realizing how I had messed up this whole thing and it wasn't actually going to go play again, I had to poke around in here, so you know. Oh, and you know, there's always, we can start dancing. It says dance pop. That doesn't really sound like much. So, y'all want to hear? No, I'm sorry. I will go back to comments and see what you all say. Gizzard Gary, hello, sir. What do we got? 2 minutes. 2 minutes counting. This is the pre-show, just so you know. It has not officially started, but because I did the pre-show, this is probably going to be the longest ever Mental Health Matters. I think previous, the longest Mental Health Matters we've ever done was, I want to say probably Michael Sodini, but I could be wrong. I think he and I went close to an hour, maybe? I don't know. I don't look at length. It doesn't matter. It's we talk about whatever we talk about here, whenever, until we are done. And when I'm by myself, that's why we definitely try to stop by 30 minutes. And luckily, DJ is usually here to keep me a little bit more entertained or entertaining, depending on which way you want to look at it. All right, so everybody, get your little fingers ready, because in 1 minute now, I am going to switch from me to the video. Now, it's going to play its normal intro. So that lag time between when I'm asking you to do this versus when it's playing, before it gets to the end, y'all should be able to let me know if the video quality, yay. I'm not even worried about that because I know I saw it already. You already saw it just momentarily. But I need to know, give me a 5x5. Let me know that the audio is actually working. And, New York Outcast, if all of a sudden gets really loud, then we'll know from now on we should pre-record my voice so that makes it work better. All right then, my friends, this is it. It is now officially 8:50, which is when I said this was going to actually start. So, let me throw this up here. Oh my goodness gracious. Hold on. I will figure this out, I swear. All right, let me get rid of my pictures. there's that. Then I'm going to put up the video. Oh, for the love of peanut butter and jelly. Okay, let me get rid of me, put this up, and then it should work. But y'all just heard that, hopefully, so let me know. Here we go, I think. All right, everyone, it's been 30 seconds for you, but it's been about 2 or 3 weeks for Klint and I since we just...
Or I magically poofed and now I'm in
All right, so good thing I'm here, because guess what? This is the second part of the video. So much fun. Oh, yeah, not for nothing. But could I get technology to actually work the way that I need it to work? That would be truly awesome and spectacular. So now I really wish that I had DJ in here so he could talk to y'all while I am looking for the correct video that is everything all together. So, oh, for the love of it all. And this is why I was going to be on my other computer to do this, just in case. So, this is where I'm like, punt, quick. Yeah, okay. Give me 1 second because I should have it here. And if I don't, well, we will play the second part. All right. Hold, please. I believe I found the first part that we are supposed to be watching. And I need to figure out where the heck it is. Show folder. All right. Open file location. Yes, that will help me. This PC last month. All right. This is going to be awesome. I swear it truly will be. And video file. This is the fun, excitement of all of the things that we do on a regular basis. Klint Macro interview. All right, y'all. Hopefully, this is the correct one, and it will work the way it's supposed to. Let's see what happens. And I'm gonna fast forward here to make sure.
All right, it's going to be awesome.
All right, it's going to be amazing. You know why it's going to be amazing?
Why?
Because we are amazing people.
That's right.
There you
Hell
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, and we're rolling.
All right, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mental Health Matters. I bet you didn't know that's what you're doing.
Mental health matters. Well,
Yes.
actually, it does quite a bit.
It does, often, all the time.
Yes.
Every Saturday night, I do the same show. And the idea is that because 2 out of every 3 gun deaths we hear about are suicides, we in the gun community talk about mental health on a regular basis and suicide prevention.
Yeah, matter of fact.
Walk the
Walk
Talk
Talk
America.
America, yeah.
In case anyone hasn't been there, you can go check out some of the interviews I have with Jake and the other guy, Sodini.
Yeah.
Mike.
Mike, yeah.
It's like, I know them, I just forget sometimes.
Yes.
if you'd be so kind, sir, do tell the people who you are and what you do. And pick whichever things you want, because Klint here does a lot of things. But highlighting gun stuff that you do and advocacy work a little bit, but just like how, to me, I always wish people could meet the gun community that I know, because you guys fill my heart with joy and happiness. And most people are afraid of guns and that sort of thing. So I always want to bring new faces to them. And I respect and love you greatly.
Well, thank you. I the same back at you. Ditto, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Klint Macro. I'm the regional training manager for Delta Defense USCCA. My own training company is the Trigger Pressers Union. The co-founder, administrator of National Train a Teacher Day.
Which is my favorite place, because I think that's where I met you.
Oh, okay.
I think that is how I met you, is the Train a Teacher Day.
Okay. I have a podcast, Meet the Pressers, with my partner Matthew Mallory. Let's see, what else? I'm the vice president of Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute, which is the Second Amendment organization, state-level organization in Pennsylvania. President of the Allegheny County Sportsman's League. I've been married to my wife Jen for 30 years. My son Augie is going to turn 18 here in a month.
Older, mine's 20.
And you know, I own a recording studio. I play music. And
what's your favorite instrument?
well, drums.
Drums.
Yeah,
okay.
I can play a little bit of everything to fool someone who doesn't know how to play that particular instrument.
Gotcha.
The drums are my thing.
See, that's how I feel about guns.
Oh, okay.
It's like I am really a handgun girl, but I can show someone how to do like rifle and shotgun, basically.
Okay, well,
So,
yeah.
Where do you think your road started? Because like some people everyone's got a story. And it's just like, what got you excited about sharing this with other people? Because most of the stuff that we do, because like the list of stuff we just talked about, it's like you didn't start saying, "Ooh, I want to take over the world and take care of everything gun related."
Yeah.
But where do you think you got started?
My mom.
Okay.
My mom was involved with all kinds of community endeavors. She was a volunteer in 80 gazillion organizations. You know, my dad even, and my mom and dad were divorced, but my dad was township supervisor. You know, so public service was something that was part of my fabric growing up, and wasn't really sure where to go with that. Earlier in my career, when I was in the music industry,
Okay.
I was out in Los Angeles, which is where you kind of need to be in the music, either there in New York or Nashville, and I went to LA. But while I was out there, because I was an avid gun person, I would take people to the range. My very best friend was an armorer, so he would take actors to the range so they looked like they knew what they were doing when they were running a carbine on film and stuff. And I started teaching people just how to work a gun. And that kind of turned into gun safety. And then when we moved back to Pennsylvania, God kicked me through a different door, and I kind of made it a career choice and dedicated time, effort, and energy, and here I am.
I always laugh because every time someone says carbine, I'm just like, why don't they just call it a short rifle?
Well, it's one of those industry things that only few people know the reason.
Oh, okay. So that's another one of my favorite things. Is like I literally don't know anything about guns. Like they all have muzzles, they all have triggers. I know how to empty most guns, but it's just like I don't get geeky on it. And
That's okay. Do you need to know?
This is the
like I wrote an article years ago. You may have read it, but it was about teaching through the eyes of a gun guy. Okay. And a lot of instructors focus on things very much as a gun person with, yelling at people they don't have the proper nomenclature and stuff. And yeah, it's important to know proper nomenclature.
At some point.
At some point, but like, what's the most important thing people need to know? Well, one, you can have a firearm, so you can empower yourself to take on that responsibility. So that's a big one, right? But two, hey, the triggery thing makes the gun go bang, and the chunk of metal flies out of the front of the gun where the hole is. So don't point that at stuff you don't want to shoot, and keep your fingery thing away from the triggery thing, and it won't go bang when you don't want it to.
There you go.
That really is the most important thing for people to understand. And then obviously from there, if they're going to have a level of expertise to where they can communicate with other folks, that's where the nomenclature comes in pretty handy.
Right.
But yeah, you don't have to be an expert on nomenclature to be a gun owner and take on that responsibility and start that path moving forward.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's so funny because like in my classes, people will be like, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? I'm like, no. Like you said, the end where the piece of metal comes out and where you put your finger, those are the things.
Yeah.
But it's just like people get stuck and make it more complex than it needs to be.
Yeah, and too often I think a lot of gun people will hold on to that terminology, and when a new gun owner or someone that's new to it doesn't understand it, they get on them about it. But I kind of look at it this way: 90% of my clients that I work with on a student level are all adults that have lived life, lost loved ones, pay their taxes, drive in traffic with other crazy Americans, and like I owe them a level of respect. Okay, they're learning is about something new. They don't really know the gun thing, but there's a lot of things in everyday life that we can compare and connect with that can help them better understand it. And really, the most important thing is, hey, you can do this, and let me help guide you to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it's like I love in my classes because I ask people what they do. I'm getting very nosy in my classes. I'm like, so what is your profession? Because I love like my nurses and my doctors. It's like I had a nurse in there the other day and she's just like, well, this is, what is this? I'm like, honey, do you remember when you learned how to do an IV? She's like, yeah. I'm like, did you have to know all of the meds in order to put the IV in? And she's like, no. And so it's just like you said, there's things outside of the gun world.
Yeah, find the tubey thing under the skin and take the sticky thing and put it into the tubey thing, right?
Exactly. All right, how long have you been training? Teaching others, I should
Teaching
say.
others,
Yes.
like professionally as a certified instructor. I got my first NRA certification, I think 2009.
Okay.
I've been teaching prior to that. I taught at the Los Angeles Recording Workshop, so I taught new engineers how to speak guitar player and do budgets and mic up drum kits and stuff. So teaching was always something that I had a knack for. But it wasn't really until I came back to Pennsylvania when my wife and I moved back a couple years after my son was born that I actually made it a thing.
Yeah.
And one of the clubs I joined when I first moved back, we were doing NRA basic pistol once a week, and like the proper 8-hour NRA basic pistol. We'd do a full day course on Saturdays, but every Thursday we would do another class that would run a couple weeks. We'd do like 2 hours a night.
Gotcha.
And I got a chance to work with a lot of different people. The guy that would book those classes, we used to say he was trolling old folks' homes. So we'd have literally people with walkers and Parkinson's, and it was a really great learning opportunity for me as an instructor. And so I had a lot of classes under my belt real quick, and then in 13, NRA was looking for new training counselors, and they were doing the training counselor class on the road, and they did one in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I applied and I got into that, and a combination of that, a combination of first discovering Rob Pincus's teachings and learning about the USCCA program, which at that time it was a brand new thing. All that kind of came together at the same time, and I had a class, a safety class, just an NRA basic pistol class, and at the end a woman gave me a hug and she says, because of what you taught me, I will never be victimized again. And that hit me like a ton of bricks, because up to that point it was like, woohoo, fun with guns, let's be safe. That was really all it was about to me. But then I realized the responsibility I had as an educator, and it was that, Pincus, USCCA, becoming a training counselor, NRA, all converged at the same time, and that's when I started the Trigger Pressers Union.
Gotcha.
And I did the same marketing stuff I did in my recording studio business for Trigger Pressers Union, and it was
Very nice.
very successful, and here we are.
And I gotta say, my journey is similar in that I wasn't looking for anything in the gun world. I wasn't trying to do this. All of this. Actually, I just had a conversation with my students. She's like, I'm looking to retire soon. What do you think about becoming an instructor?
Why not?
And I'm just like, okay. But it's so funny because it's like the way people get here, there's not a single road to get here.
No, and some of my most empowering instructors that I've trained were not just females, but folks that just got into shooting very recently. They absorbed as much as they could, and they were really passionate about showing their friends. And so they did that and maybe started teaching, getting certified to teach some of the basic level classes. And they run a lot of people through those, and they get people empowered and excited and confident to then continue their journey. And then they pass them off to some other instructors that maybe do more defensive related stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, so if you're interested, be you and be the best damn you that you can be, and that will yield results.
And I will say, teaching people how to become instructors, they're like, oh, but I don't know as much as you. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. When you're my student, it's like you're going to be your own person who's going to take the people that I never get to see because they're going to like you for who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think an instructor, first and foremost, is a motivator, a leader, a mentor. I really believe a lot in servant leadership. student-centric training, whatever that may be. And I may teach a standardized course, but I might emphasize a little more on one part of it because that's what the students need more time on. And maybe something else, they just see a demonstration of it, or maybe they run one rep of it as an experiential thing. Whereas other times, I'll get people who are maybe a little more acclimated to what I'm teaching, and we'll kind of move through the stuff at the beginning a little quicker, and they get more reps, and maybe we get to do the combat Christmas tree roll exercise or something. That's a joke, by the way. They get to do more reps or things that are more dynamic.
Yeah. Cartwheels, one-handed shooting, that kind of thing. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you ever do Tatiana's around the world?
No, I have not. Tatiana's going to be in Ohio this summer,
Okay.
And I'm really hoping that my weekend or that weekend that she's there opens up because I would really like to take a class with her. I've never worked with her in the range. She had done basically a refresh with me as a USCCA instructor. So she came and took the instructor class again. She was already an instructor, but I got to see her do some teach backs. And she's amazing.
You did that for me too.
Yeah, she's amazing. And I'd love to spend some time with her in the range. She's a monster shooter.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. I love her. Do y'all call her the tactical pixie as well?
I've never called her that.
Oh yeah, so a girl in a gun, we call her the tactical pixie. Or at least we used to. I haven't been there in a while, so I'm not sure. But stuff like around the world, it's a really cool drill where you stand, you kneel, your side, back, all of that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
But it's fun to understand, like the students I just had this morning.
Like a flow drill.
Yeah.
So you start here, get down, move,
Yeah,
and then
it's
she
like
calls
it's
an up
one
command
shot.
at some point.
No, you just walk through it.
Oh,
So
okay.
you learn that you can do it from any position.
Oh, okay.
Again, not in a basic pistol class, most likely.
Yeah.
But it's just fun. I love what we do. Now you travel all over the country.
Yeah, I do most of my stuff in the Northeast.
Okay.
So Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, up to Maine. But I certainly do travel the country. Definitely have done a lot of classes out west, more so in years past. Since I took on this role with USCCA, obviously that takes up the bulk of my time.
Because you're managing all of us in the Northeast.
In the
right?
Northeast, yeah. But I was at NRA annual meeting. I did seminars there, and I did seminars for the NRA. And actually, I got to do an instructor development seminar on marketing for the NRA Instructor Symposium as Klint from USCCA, which was really an awesome thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How is Marty?
Oh, Marty's awesome.
Marty's amazing.
Marty has two faces, and he does smile, but he says he only has a certain amount of smiles, and he knows when they're used up, he's going to die, so he doesn't want to use them up.
Is that what he told you?
Yeah.
All right, good to know. All right, so Mental Health Matters, Walk the Talk America, bridging gaps between people who are not gun people and mental health, and understanding like veteran suicide, prevention, that sort of thing. Train a Teacher Day, all of these things. What are some of your favorites, or ones that come programs that come to mind of where gun community is outreaching to non-gun community?
Oh, wow.
Because I mean, you travel more than I do.
Yeah, I mean, National Train a Teacher Day has been a really, really cool thing, and it's our 9th year we're doing it. And the data that I have from
us slackers who sometimes
is very broken. But the data that I do have, and some of the things I hear reported to me, and some of the things I've witnessed myself. I did a class on National Train a Teacher Day a couple years ago, and one of the people there was actually at Tree of Life during the Tree of Life massacre that happened in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow!
And when he was done, he says, if more people had this information that night, he says there would have been much less casualties.
Right.
And that was a really, I mean, it's something that I thought I knew, but to hear that from someone there, for them to actually say it out loud, was very powerful. But being able to reach people with training that's not necessarily even how to use the gun, but just, hey, how does the gun work? Hey, the hole in the front, the bullet comes out of, and the triggery thing makes the gun go bang. If every American knew that when the slidey thing stuck back and didn't go forward again, the gun can't fire.
Right.
So that's the time to throw textbooks at him, or run, or hit him with a chair or something.
Right.
So hearing stories about people who aren't gun people, taking some of the just basic safety training that we offer in National Train a Teacher Day, and having a much bigger respect for that right, but also now knowing a little bit more when people start to give the disinformation, like, well, wait a minute, that's not actually true.
How rich would we be if we actually got paid every time one said, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be?
Oh, yeah. or when they're like this, and then they finally do shoot, and they go, ah!
Exactly. All right, so I don't know. no. Those are kind of the questions that I had. And you have so much knowledge, though, because you dove in. Like, one of the other posters that's in my classroom is it takes 3,000, scientists say it takes 3,000 to 10,000 reps to get a new skill. And in my classes, I'm always like, you're only on rep number 1. Don't expect too much. What do you think your favorite advice to your students, like your new students are?
60% of the time, it works every time. No, favorite piece of advice. I just like to really help people understand that they can do it if they want to.
Okay.
Whatever that is. They want to become an instructor. If they want to own a gun and have it in their house, or own a gun and carry it in their body with a round in the chamber, you can do it. Just seek out the education so that, not even necessarily that you know how to do it now, but you understand how it works and you're more confident.
Gotcha.
Obviously knowledge is power. But I think a lot of times people know already, but the training validates their belief structure so that then they feel okay taking that step.
What training do you take? I know those of us who love teaching, we love taking training.
Yeah, I always enjoy the roll around the dirt advanced kind of classes, but really and honestly, the longer I've been doing this, I really like working with a trainer or an instructor and just seeing what their basic kung fu is. And from there, because really advanced stuff is just the basics in a more specific context.
Right.
So to really get someone's idea on how sight picture should work and what they believe the best way to shoot a gun might be. And so I enjoy taking those classes. And a lot of times, I certainly have my own opinions about things, but I like to think that I'm open-minded. And they say every class you learn something. I think that's true.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, the questions that students ask, I'm like, I hadn't thought about that. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, and some of my my biggest educational experiences for me were when I were teaching people who weren't gun people.
Right.
They're like, well, I'd never pick up a spatula like that. I'm like, how would you pick up a spatula? Like, oh, well, why are we doing it this way? That's better, right? So I think a lot of training that we see as educators, as subject matter experts, is learning to do something different than how it's always been done.
Right.
And there are some things been done this way forever because maybe it is like a rule or it is the way to do it. But as we change technology, as we change the way guns operate, as we change thought process on technique and tactics, and then all of a sudden, we have to consider what the law would say. And, so I think being open-minded, the fact that there may be a better way to do it.
Sorry, I don't mean to roll my eyes, but as soon as someone says anything about the law, I'm just like, oh.
Oh yeah, that's a very complex subject.
It is. I've had people walk out of my permit classes like, nope, I'm not going to do it because it's too confusing.
Well, we were talking about mandatory training. Yeah, there's some of the guys here. You take, for instance, the Maryland wear and carry class. You have to read statutes, and really the implied message there is, here's where you're going to get arrested now that you have a gun.
Yeah.
And here's why you're a bad person now that you have a gun. That's kind of the implied message with a lot of state mandated training.
Yeah.
And okay, we have to navigate the laws, and if we don't like the laws, get involved legislatively, and it's possible for those laws to be changed, although some states it's definitely harder than others.
Yes.
But ultimately we have to navigate those. So we have to learn, what is my real risk here and what risk am I willing to take on? And in the USCCA, we say, really the litmus test is this. If this situation is worth dying or going to jail over, then use righteous violence to defend yourself as efficiently as possible and just be prepared to let the cards fall where they may. Like, my son is worth going to jail over.
Right.
But I've studied the law, I've learned the law, I believe I know it well enough that I would be able to articulate reasonableness, and I don't think that I would place myself in a situation where I might need to use that level of force and it not be perceived as reasonable to at least somebody.
Right.
But a lot of folks, I think, they think, well, I'm a law-abiding American, I pay my taxes, if I defend myself, who's going to question it? I'm a good person. And that may very well be the case, but people don't understand the risk of getting thrust into the legal system.
Yeah.
All right. So now, oh wait, it keeps going. I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, everyone. It's been 30 seconds for you, but it's been about 2 or 3 weeks for Klint and I since we just.
Or I magically poofed, and now I'm in Maryland, and you're back home, I guess.
There you go. Yes, I poofed from where we were speaking moments ago, and voila, here we are. Our batteries died. So we didn't want to leave you without getting to finish this interview with Klint, because as you got to hear from all of our lovely conversation earlier, there's a lot to unpack here, and here we go again. So I love all to death, but here we go. If you haven't gathered by now, Klint is the man of many, many talents and all of this. So, married 30 years, son about to turn 18, on dozens of...
He actually did, between the last interview and here. Yeah, 18 now.
Okay, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. So magic physical shift, and we did a time warp all at the same time in that 30 seconds right there.
It's like an episode of Star Trek, man.
Exactly. And so dozens of boards, organizations, you're on the road constantly. Matter of fact, where are you now?
I'm in Maryland. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know, that's funny when you have to think about it. So with all the stuff that you do, the stuff we've already been chatting about, what is it that helps you refill your tank? And how do you help your students and friends, and people, mentees like moi? How do you refill your tank when you're constantly a never-ending motion machine?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes I refill my tank very poorly. It's real easy to get burnt out. I would say last fall, I really started to feel it. And a lot of the travel I was doing at that time was more for Delta Defense, my day job. And the crew there is awesome. They really promote a good work-life balance. And I went to my manager. I said, I gotta back off on some of these classes. And he's like, no problem. So, matter of fact, my manager at Delta Defense, Gavin Glassnap, he actually kind of does this if I book too many gigs. He says, "Are you sure everything's good? Are you traveling too much?" But where I land into trouble is I'll do my gigs for Delta Defense, but then PDN training tour, and we'll go do something else with one of my other endeavors. And filling the tank is tough. Throughout my entire adult life, I've run like 100 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden, had those crashy moments. Matter of fact, in the music industry, when I was doing audio exclusively, I made something like 25 records in like 1997. And it's like just nonstop work. And all I was doing is chain smoking and drinking coffee and recording.
Every 2 weeks, or not even? It's even more than that.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like I did each one of them back to back, but it's like I'm doing drum tracks on this one on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I got another one coming in. And when I look back at my resume and my discography and my Vitae, I'm like, wow, how did I get all that stuff done? But I'll be honest, part of what motivates me is that I can look back and say, wow, how did I get all that stuff done? Because I was able to do it. And
right.
People have come to me for many years because I can, at least the perception is, I can do things that other people can't. And that's really helped motivate me. But filling the tank is something that is difficult for me to do. And I don't always do the right thing with that. I'll burn myself out and then sleep 3 days and then just get back on the road again. So that's something I definitely struggle with. It's really my wife probably that pays more for that than I do. That
was the next thing. 30 years of marriage, and she still puts up with you.
Yeah. She's definitely seen some of the best and the worst. I think we've had a good relationship the entire time. We've not really ever fought much. I mean, I can probably count the amount of yelling fights that we've had on one hand in all those years. But definitely I've left her at home by herself a lot over the years when I was gigging or when I'm traveling and things like that. I didn't really start traveling for training as much until my son got a little bit older. I'd say the first 10, 11 years, I was pretty much with him every day for the most part. And then after he got a little bit older and kind of understood, that's when I it just happened. That's when my business trigger pressers started picking up, and I was doing more contract work for Delta at the time, and doing more of my own classes on the road. And it's when I started being on the PDN training tour, things like that. But yeah, the last couple of years I've been on the road quite a bit. And yeah, what's weird is when you wake up at home and you don't know where you are.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Hotels, you don't know where you are in a hotel. And I'm a Hilton guy, so I like to stay in the Hamptons and collect all the points because they add up, and there's a consistency there. And as someone who's on the road a lot, like, I appreciate that. I know what the coffee's going to be like. I know what the bed's probably going to be like, that kind of thing.
But those are good things. My husband loves the bed. I mean, in that he loves being home in his own bed.
Oh yeah, no, I do too. But when you wake up in the morning, like, where am I? That's when you know that you're burning out and you need to plant back and not go on the road as much. So refilling, I do get a chance to go down to my studio and make some music. I actually have a session coming up this weekend. I'm going to be mixing some songs for a local band, and that has turned out to be my therapy time. I still work technically, and I'm working with folks, and I'm doing that thing. But having switched my lifestyle and my focus professionally to the training aspect, it's really nice to be an audio engineer again and be in the music industry. So that's been helpful. I've been working on a record of my own. I've been picking away at that. I started that between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I laid the drum tracks down, and my son helped me with get the drum tracks down. I played drums on it. Oh, he doesn't play anything, but he basically would hit go and stop on the tape machine for me while I was recording.
Gotcha.
And basically, there's a whole bunch of cover songs I've always wanted to record, but no one ever paid me to do it, and there wasn't any reason to do it. So I decided, you know what, damn it, I own a recording studio, and it's awesome, and I want to go down and record. So I learned all the guitar parts and listened to it in headphones. Like, wait a minute, that's a kazoo in the left. They did a kazoo part, and that's a banjo. So I just kind of backwards engineered it and then went back and re-recorded the song. So I got about 15 songs that I got done, and I'm doing the vocals on it too, and they're turning out pretty good. But that's
and you're having fun, and it's putting a smile on your face, so that's even more important.
Yeah, but one of the other things that really refills my tank is I really, really enjoy helping my son produce his show. He's got his show Cryptid Creatures with Klint Macro, and that's really been a thing that he and I do together. It's his show, but it's my show too. He's in front of the camera, but I'm behind it. And so for instance, we got a vacation we're doing. He and I are going to take 2 weeks and just do kind of a road trip, and the whole thing is scheduled around, we're going to drive 6 hours to here. We're going to shoot a segment about this monster, and then drive 4 hours to here. And then we're going to shoot a segment about this cryptid, and then 5 hours to here to talk about this phenomenon. And, so we've got a pretty big, ambitious schedule put out, but it's going to be me and him out on the road and getting some recording done. So I really have enjoyed watching him grow and develop as someone that's a public speaker and an on-camera personality. Not that I ever wanted that to be for him, but he's very good at it. And I'm real proud when he can sit down and research something in about 15 minutes and then actually get on camera and speak to it like an expert for 2 minutes, and then remembers names and dates and all kinds of facts and things like that. So we have a lot of time putting his show together.
That's hard. I mean, names and dates. I am not that detailed person at all. I'm just like 10,000 foot view, please. Thank you very much.
Oh no, he'll remember Bob Johnson in the August 27th, 1932 saw a 6.35 inch thing, and he's all the detail. And then I think about he's BSing me, and then I'll go back and I'll research. He's like right on the money. I'm like, well, that's awesome. That's
so
I don't have.
Claim to fame here is C6H12O6 glucose from when I was in 7th grade, and it was the product of photosynthesis. So that's the most nerdy thing that I remember ever, and the most detailed thing. So what a molecule looks like. So yes.
Yeah, he's amazing at that. He actually kind of taught himself to read Latin by learning animal names in Latin, and then kind of figuring out what each of the portions of the animal name meant. He's like, that word means rock, and that word means bird, and that. So You can give him something in Latin, he can decode it, and it's pretty damn close to right. It's pretty
So
awesome.
he did really good on his SATs then.
He actually did pretty damn good. I don't know the score off the top of my head, but it was really high.
Yeah. No, we were discussing with mine. Mine are 19 and 20, and mine actually just graduated high school 2 days ago, on Monday. And so now both of them are out of high school. So Jen has been there for you, not yelled at you a whole lot.
No.
Augie is your happiness and travel. Not that Jen is not. Sorry, let me not do it that way.
No,
getting to play in the studio, pulling apart things and then putting them back together. So creativity. What else? I mean, that's a lot, and it's one of those things like just getting to watch you talk about it and see you light up with the getting to do those projects both with your son and also just things you've been thinking about for a long time, because that's always lovely, because getting to be told what to do and running around and doing all the things and accomplishing all that stuff and then finally doing more of the stuff that you're more lit up about. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, I get lit up by everything I do. I'm very blessed in that. I mean, I love doing the show with Matt, Meet the Pressers. I really enjoy the day gig that I have with Delta Defense, and I love, working with FOAC and Allegheny County Sportsman's League, and I love doing all of it. But it does. You had asked me before about how do you manage all of that, and really, it's making the best choice you can for, honestly, selective sacrifice. So it's like, all right, tonight I'm not going to speak to my wife because I got to go shoot an episode, or tomorrow I have to write an article for FOAC, so I'm not going to work on my record downstairs. And this trip is a day gig Delta Defense trip, and while I'm stuck in a hotel room, I'll shoot this, this podcast, because that's a better use of my time as opposed to doing it when I'm home and then I'd have to go away from my family. So a lot of time management and just selective, where am I going to move this piece and where's it going to affect other people the least? I do that pretty well. And sometimes I screw it up and it's like, oh man, I could have spent that time with my boy or with my wife. And all right, I'm going to have to go do this thing. But we all take on a great deal of responsibility when we step up to these roles and these volunteer roles. And part of that is there is a fair bit of sacrifice in there, but you just have to decide, is it worth it? And ultimately, especially with the 2A pursuits and things like that, it's like, man, I gotta do this because I can, and no one else is right now. So somebody needs to do this. And I'm not saying I'm the only one that could do what I do, certainly not the case, but
no, but you and I get to represent a lot of people who wish that they could do what we do. Yeah. And I assume it is the same for you, in that I have people come up to me and say, thank you for doing what you're doing, because I can't. And so it's just like, for me, that's why I stay. And I may not do names and dates as well, but I guess I do have a lot of 2A stats in my head about suicide prevention, and the 2 out of every 3 gun deaths are suicide. And I did have an Aiming for Zero shirt on until dinner time, and I ruined that. So today it's just my Great Star Shooter School one instead. But yeah, it's like we all have our different ways to go about it. Because before we got on camera today, we were talking a little bit about dealing with taking care of parents, and as they get older, how we have to step in more. And last year, I knew that my mom was going to be more, going to need more help. And so my husband and I sat down and we discussed, were we going to shut down the school? And my husband, thankfully, said, no, we're not going to shut down the school. And so my happiness is my Thursday, Friday, Saturday teaching my students. And so it's just like what you're talking about. It's like the in-betweens of everything else that we're constantly doing. So yeah, having joy in the stuff you do, like you, I feel amazingly blessed that the work I do is enjoyable. And yes, it's work, but it's like it lights you up all at the same time. It's like,
yeah, it's nice to feel you have a higher purpose. And that's a belief structure. There's no real like evidence to support that. It's just something that you have to kind of embrace and believe. But I've seen enough things in my life where what I'm doing now, I am absolutely affecting more people in a positive way than I have in the past. And you know, I don't regret anything I've done in the past, but you know, helping people exercise their First Amendment right and to realize their dream of making a great record doesn't necessarily save lives. And to have had an influence on individuals and instructors, and then hear reports of somewhere downstream, I saved like all these lives. And it's not that I did it specifically, but I had a part in that. And whether that be helping an instructor empower that person or empower that person to take on the responsibility themselves. And I think that's a righteous calling. And so I take that very seriously. And I do get some joy out of it, but it's heavy.
It is very heavy. And actually, it's one of the things, one of the other comments that we had was instructors. We get to share with people firearm safety first and foremost. And then some people continue on to self-defense, and we get to teach them a little bit more about like, what does that really look like? What does that really feel like? And it's one of those things like you're still NRA certified as well. Yes.
I've dropped out for a second there.
Okay.
So I missed part of what you just said.
Oh, sorry.
I said serious heart attack. That's the last thing I remember. Yeah, my hotel Wi-Fi kicked me off for a second.
Okay, sorry. I'm like I was like reading stuff, so I didn't even see that you froze or anything. So anyway, are you still NRA instructor as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I still do like an NRA, some fashion of NRA instructor class. I try to do at least one a year.
Gotcha.
You know, I was just down at the NRA annual meeting, and I did a seminar at the instructor symposium. I still stay in close communication with John Howard and with Marty Sprick down there, and the guys.
Love Marty.
Yeah.
Sorry. For those of you who've never met Marty, one of these days I'll have to put a little like a pop-up here of him, because it's just you have to meet the man. So self-defense, firearms, safety, all the things that we get to teach people, everything when we're talking about firearms and Second Amendment and taking your rights seriously. It's just like it's safety, but it's like it can be really, really heavy. And here at a Great Start Shooting School, I'm always like, let's have fun with guns first, so you're comfortable, confident, and enjoy handling this. Because if you enjoy them, then you will want to train with them. And then we get to the actual self-defense stuff, and it's just like really building into people, which I think you do a great job of, is what does it really mean? Like, how do you prepare for the worst day of their life? And it's just like, I just think you do a really great job of that. But like, if asking you a question backwards is like, what is your favorite way to frame it when you're meeting people who are like, hey, I want a gun to save my life? Because you and I know there's stupid amounts of training that we've gone through, done. It's part of who our life is. But for those students that we have that are maybe not going to spend as much time and all of that, is like, how do you help people with the transition of, ooh, this seems like a good idea, but do I really understand what I'm getting myself into? I'm not even sure that's a very cohesive question, but I hope you have something to say.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes there needs to be a very direct conversation with somebody just to make sure that they're willing to take on the ball of wax of responsibility, right? You know, kind of like the first couple slides or at least the first couple sections in the NRA's personal protection programs, the inside and outside the home. You know, you have to ask yourself, are you capable of using deadly force? Are you capable of potentially taking the life of another human being to protect yourself or someone else? And those are questions I can never answer for somebody, but I want to make sure that they consider that. You know, the gun is not a magic talisman. You know, pepper spray is not a magic talisman. You know, your Hanzo Hattori sword is not, whatever that is, right? That's not a magic.
There we go.
Yeah, you know, people say I bought a gun to protect myself. Well, where is it? It's in a shoebox in the back of the closet. It's not protecting you. Like that's not a viable tool for you right now unless you get back there. And have you planned that? Are you practicing that? How can you access it? You know. So I don't like to approach people with problems because I don't want to turn them away, but I try to logically look at them, talk to them, and get them to think for themselves about what they're getting into. And you know what? A lot of people are big proponents of mandatory training and things like that. And you know, what is enough training? What is too much training? What is not enough training? And nobody really can answer that question. I think most people would agree that, you know, taking on the responsibility to be self-sufficient in the means of, or in the mindset of protecting yourself, I think it's not necessarily how much is enough or how much is too little. It just needs to be a lifestyle choice. It needs to be an ongoing process. You know, every time we practice and train and learn a new skill set, then another door opens and we realize, oh wait, I need to improve on that, or I need to supplement this, or what about a plan B or a plan C? So I like to try to really get people on the idea of the mindset of a training lifestyle. Now that can be tremendously overwhelming. So try to make it more accessible. You know, a lot of little things add up to a big thing. So you can train every single day. I wrote an article for Personal Defense Network a number of years ago, a long time ago, and it just talked about ways that you can train every single day. That's not necessarily live fire. Obviously, live fire training is a fantastic thing, but you know, if you don't really have a coach or you're not working on a specific skill set, sometimes people can just kind of waste ammunition and maybe build the neural pathway of doing something that's probably not the best, best technique. So how can you supplement that? Well, you know, articles, videos, there's lots of video content, online training, e-learnings, books. You know, we can go to the library and get a book by Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman and sit down and open the book and read the words on the page. And there's tremendous value in that. Not to replace live fire training or one-on-one coaching or classes or anything, but to supplement it. So if every day you decide, okay, I'm going to do one thing today to help myself be better prepared to defend myself, or better well-regulated, or better prepared to articulate reasonableness, or learn a little bit about the law, be able to navigate that, make a better choice about where I place myself in my actions. If you can just do something every day, one thing. Back years ago when I was in bands, you know, it was always like, okay, guys, every day do something to help the band. Maybe that's make a flyer, maybe that's book a gig, maybe that's learn a new song, maybe that's, you know, fix your equipment, maybe that's put gas in the van. It could be anything, but do something every day to broaden your horizons and improve yourself as that first responder. So I think if you get people on mindset of first off, taking that responsibility, answer those questions that I can't answer for you. Once you realize that you are capable, if that is the case, then what can you do to improve? And try to set up a glide path to success that makes sense. You know, it's real easy for me to say, well, you need to take 10 years of training and shoot a gazillion rounds and go to the range every single day. And a lot of instructors sometimes will imply that. And the average citizen will go, wonk, wonk, this is too much. I can't do this. This is too many things. You know, like if you remember the Peanuts, you know, the Charlie Brown cartoon, doo-loo-loo, doo-loo-loo, they kind of walk away feeling defeated. So, you know, I don't want to overwhelm people, but also, you know, I want to try to encourage them to do something every day. And one thing that I actually have been able to do, I think this is maybe not unique to me, but people say, I don't have time. I'm like, you follow me? Do you see everything I do? You got time. You can take 10 minutes, man. You know, Mike Seeklander and Mike Hughes both profess about 10-minute trainings. You know, just do a short little training session and do them often. You know, maybe do 10-minute trainings, you know, do two a day. And then maybe next week you do 3 a day. And then maybe the week after that, you do 4 a day. And the week after that, maybe go take a class and give yourself 2 days off and go watch a movie or something. Go, you know, pet your dog or something.
Yeah, no, on a Great Start Shooting School's YouTube site, there's a how-to videos. All of them are 2 minutes and less.
Yeah.
Just for that reason, to give people those little bite-sized pieces, because it is overwhelming. And it's just like, I find we got into it and we threw ourselves into it, as far as I know. It is one of those things where I'm like, most people aren't going to do that, because for most of my life when I was around guns, I thought I was a shooter. It meant that I went to the range once a year and someone handed me a loaded gun and pulled the trigger, and I'm like, oh, I'm a shooter, until I found out, oh no, I am not. So this is my favorite tool for the simplest thing that you can do as far as the self-defense goes. For those who don't
Shine
know,
light.
it's just a flashlight, because this is something, when you start thinking about it on a regular basis, is something simple, easy you can train with without getting crazy about stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out there.
No, it's okay, because it can feel overwhelming. And I think, having been in this business and been training for over almost 20 years now, apparently I'm getting old, is that there's so much to know. And the more you know, the more you realize how little you know. And so it's just, I don't know, it's the never ending, because you can always learn more. You can always train more. You can always train less though, too. And I think that's one of the things people forget. It's like, no, it's okay. Go learn how to jump up and grab that shoe box and practice those things.
Yeah, the shoe box. There's probably a better way to store that gun or stage it. Even better.
There's that. It could be like one of those books that just looks like a book, but it's really a safe, or it's a fake shoe box. That's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah, but keep in mind, the Second Amendment doesn't do a damn thing for you if you don't have a gun in your hand when you need it.
There is that.
So that's another thing, whatever tool someone chooses to carry, if they are using a tool. I mean, you and I assume you do. I do a lot of classes where it's just teaching people to make better choices and think defensively and have better awareness and understand what it might look like when someone's up to no good, so that they can leave the room and go another direction. Yeah, learning that criminal behavior, so we can look out for that and recognize it. So it's not just the tool, but if there's a tool involved, one of the biggest hurdles I have is trying to help empower people to carry that tool on their body all the time.
Right.
Or as often as legally possible, or as often as practicable, based upon their lifestyle. Or, I get it. Sometimes you can't carry at the office, or, when I cross the bridge in New Jersey, I can't take my gun there. But, when you can, why are you not carrying every day? If you saw value in purchasing this tool and getting some training to use it, potentially to defend yourself, well, then let's talk about ways we can make that happen every day, or as often as possible. So that's sometimes a hurdle. You get someone that takes a class, and I'll see them, a couple of weeks later. So, do you carrying every day? And they're like, no, I carried last Tuesday. Well, what made last Tuesday different than Wednesday? Like, what's the likelihood of you getting jacked up on Tuesday only? And it's like, do you know something I don't? Like, well, no, I felt like carrying. Well, maybe carry every day. Because imagine how defeated you would feel if the day you didn't carry, you needed it.
Right.
And what if someone you care about was harmed because of that choice? Right. So when you take on the responsibility, it's taking on responsibility. So when you get up in the morning and you put on your gun, like, oh, all right, I got to put another magazine on. Oh, I need to put my flashlight on, or, whatever it is that you have in your tool belt, your everyday infrastructure, everyday carry infrastructure. But you got to be disciplined. It's tough. It's tough.
I give everybody the spare tire analogy. In that, when was the last time you took your spare tire out of your car and put it back in when you thought you were going to need it? Because that's just not going to happen. So it is a matter of becoming a lifestyle. And absolutely, I'm looking up at my ceiling, because on my ceiling it has my Delta Fence Run, Hide, Fight thing of the number one self-defense tool that we have is right here, and the awareness that we have of what's going on around us to avoid it, and to really listen to that voice in there that says, hey, this may not be a great thing. We should see what's making us and maybe continue on to the next place. Which actually brings me to my next question. How do you like that for a segue?
Nice.
They like that? Okay, so the next question is this. Have you hit what you would consider like full burnout, and just like, I know you said at one point, like you'll go, then sleep for like 3 days. But one of the things on Mental Health Matters that we're trying to always do is give people tools. And I find personally, I learn the best from my failures more often than my successes. So just like learning how to say no, that sort of thing. But also like seeing like, when do you realize that, okay, didn't do a great job filling up the tank, I need to take a break, making myself take a break, that sort of thing. Like, what are some of the things in our crazy busy lives? Because here's the other part of this. It's like you've got tons of titles, you've got multiple professions, all of that, and people will probably look at you like, oh my gosh, I don't do as much as him. But the reality of life these days is all of us are doing a bazillion different
Million
things.
things, yeah.
And
Yeah,
so it's like,
I just happen to be
what
better.
are some of your warning signs? It's like, what are your warning signs that you notice for you, and what are ways that you help redirect yourself, or what are some of the tools that you get to use? I mean, we heard about some of your music and that sort of thing, but like, what is it you really are starting to notice, and the importance of people around you to say, hey, are you sure you want to put another thing on your calendar?
Yeah, that's a thing. Sometimes I'll recognize that I'm getting grumpy, or I'm starting to feel like mopey. And when I recognize that, that's obviously a problem. My wife has been good in the past and at times to be able to just say, like, what's wrong with you? You're not acting right. And just for her to bring that up and say that is kind of like what are you doing? And, being able to say no to something is very difficult. I'll look at my schedule like, oh man, I want to do 80,000 classes this year. That's my goal at the beginning of the year. And it's like, I'm not going to be able to, I got to cut back. I can't do 80,000 classes. And then I'll feel like, oh, I'm a failure because I didn't do 80,000 classes. And then my wife or, another colleague will say, dude, you did 70,000 classes this year, man. What are you talking about? You're nuts, right? So sometimes it's nice to have those close to you kind of give you a little, a slap, figuratively or literally, I suppose. But yeah, what I really noticed, and this going back to when I was doing music all the time and audio all the time, when you get up in the morning and you don't want to do what you're doing, that is a sign that something is not right. Provided that you do enjoy what you do. I mean, I know some people have shitty jobs and they gotta do the thing because that's what they have to. But as we mentioned before, I'm very blessed to really enjoy doing everything that I do. So when I get up in the morning, or when I shift my mindset because it's 5 o'clock, I close this laptop and open the other one, and I go, oh, I don't want to do this. That means that there's a problem. So what do I need to do to kind of get back on a level set? And a lot of times that is saying no to some things. And that's really hard to do, man. It's really hard to say no to stuff.
Why is such a tiny word so difficult?
Yeah,
but
it really
it's so
is
important for your mental health.
Yeah. So that's something I've really been really bad at, honestly. And maybe this last year I've gotten a little bit better at it, just from help from some of the folks at Delta and actually Matt Mallory, my partner in the podcast, he had some other things going on in his life that we kind of slowed some things down there. And I look back at that and I'm like, wow, I needed that. I needed to slow down on that too. And it's kind of like divine intervention. It worked out really well. So now that we're starting to ramp some things up, got some new opportunities, we're both like kind of refreshed and ready to jump back into it. So, as with anyone that owns their own business, you got ebbs and flows. And so I think part of the reason why I always just want to go full battle rattle whenever there's an opportunity is because I've, up until getting this day job with Delta a couple of years ago, every dollar that I had to spend on electricity or food was something I had to go out and find and make. And not that I don't make my living or anything like that with Delta, but it's a gig, it's there. But, otherwise I would have to go find the opportunity, convince other people of spending their money with me, and convince other people sometimes of even the opportunity to spend their money with me. So that shameless self-promotion lights a fire in you to where whenever you do see an opportunity, you don't say no to it, because I may not know where my next dollar comes from. And that's been something that I was never able to let go of when I stepped into the world of day job land. So that means, I make quite a bit of money some days, and I am able to do a lot of things. But on the other hand, I do a lot of things, and I sometimes tend to work the 22-hour day kind of thing.
And you see this little tiny space on your calendar. It's like, yes, I can fit one more thing in.
Yeah.
It's like,
Look, there's a
oh,
bright spot. Where am I? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I the kindred spirit. Sadly, I don't do as much traveling as you, so that's good, I think. All right, so number one bit of advice. What would you just say to someone in the community who's running on empty but feels as though they can't slow down based on
Well, uh, I'll give the best advice that I can, and it's maybe not like the perfect sage advice because I am very, very flawed and imperfect myself. But I would say trust those around you, those that you care about, that you love, or that you value. You know, if you have a good relationship with those around you, they will tell you when you're going too far, or when you need to back off or slow down. And even if they don't, you know, in a moment of clarity or sanity, remind them that they can do that. You know, if you do everything yourself, that's how we burn out. So being able to lean on someone's shoulders for support, for, you know, moral support, for, you know, professional guidance. And a lot of us, you know, some people certainly are truly alone. I'm sure there were times in your life where you really didn't have anyone to fall back on, or maybe that pool was very limited. But most of us have somebody, especially if you're within a community, you know, kind of like we are, you know, there's people we can turn to. I mean, you know, talking to you over the years, there's been times where you have been much more therapeutic to me than you maybe ever would recognize, maybe than you would ever know. And I'm sure all of us, as we interact with a lot of the, you know, the familiar faces within the, you know, the 2A community, that's truly the case. So being part of a community is kind of cool. I'm not a proponent of it takes a village or anything like that, but it's nice to have a village.
yes, yes, and it's definitely it's great to have your people, whoever your people are, and wherever you find them. But I find 2A community, like, I mean, right back at you, just like how we started this. It was like, yeah, you're absolutely an inspiration or inspirational. I'm not sure, a little bit of both, I guess. Grammar's not always my friend, but
I'm
it's
just a dipshit kid from Pennsylvania, man.
well, funny story. A guy who got me into competitive shooting very significantly, he was literally fell off the turnip truck because his dad did turnips. So, you know, there's that. Must be a 2A thing.
Literally on the turnip truck.
Literally on the turnip truck, for
That's
real.
impressive. That's cool.
So, but yeah, so it's the stories. And here's the thing. I think one of the things as a kid, when you're talking about being alone versus having the people around you, there are plenty of people that look like they've got people all around them all of the time, and yet they can still feel very, very lonely.
Yeah.
And so it's also one of those things where it's just like, if you have that one or two friends or family or whatever that you can talk to, and they'll talk to you, or like Clint said, or smack you if you need it, you are blessed beyond measure. And I know when I was a kid, I thought the whole thing was, oh, you have to have this whole posse that you hang out with and you're with all the time, like on the TV show Friends. And it's just like, we got sold a bill of goods on that. It's like, do you need friends? Yes, but you only need one or two really good ones. And like Clint here is one of my many. I am very blessed to have so many amazing friends. And I am going to thank guns for that, and God, of course. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, having someone to help you. And when you feel very alone, that's when you need God the most, I think.
I agree. I agree.
And having your faith and understanding is nice to know there's something bigger than just you. Because that's kind of why I started suicide prevention. Because when you are suicidal, you are feeling very alone. And it has nothing to do with those who are around you. Because when I was suicidal as a teen, it was tons of people were around me at all times, but nobody knew how alone I was. So that would be my other thing, is just because you think you're alone, you're probably not. So have faith that there is something out there for you.
Yeah.
All right.
One time I was feeling very alone, sitting
What's
on
that?
my couch. One time I was feeling very alone, sitting on my couch, and it was just a bad day. I was not handling my stress well, and I was just starting to get a little depressed. And the sun just shined right through the window, hit me, just warmth of the sun. It was a slap. It was God slapped me saying, crawl out of your ass, dude. Look at your blessings and refocus and do what you need to and move forward. And I think those signs are all over the place if we choose to recognize them. And some people don't choose to recognize them. And I get it. Some people can be so depressed or so upset or so angry that they kind of maybe not consciously, but something in them like refuses to see that. And the gifts from God are faith-based, but that's where having a wife or a kid or friends or something to give you the slap now and then, I think is kind of nice to have if you have that. But
It is.
God's there watching you too. If you pay attention, you'll see signs.
Oh yeah, wait, where is it?
Or if you're open to, yeah.
One of my favorite things I've had this since high school, and it's the footprints in the sand.
Oh yeah.
Where, if I get to the part, when you saw only one set of footprints and God says, well, that's where I carried you. And that's the other part of, you may feel alone, but you are not. So yeah, reach out. Know that there are always someone somewhere. And as far as people not being able to see what's out there, it's just like training your trigger finger. It's just like training your sight picture. It's like, pay attention to what you are thinking about this. And sometimes you do not get an answer right away, but I promise if you keep asking the question, what's good about this, you can find something. Okay, so since G23 is probably super excited because he wants like a 2-hour version of Suicide Prevention Saturday, we're getting close to at least an hour and a half at this point. So not to keep you all here forever. So before I let you go, I want people to be able to find you, keep learning, find the YouTube thing. We talked a little bit about ASP, but I can't remember if that was before or after. But Meet the Pressers is on ASP, the paid version.
Oh, on ASP Unlimited app, yeah. We also have recently started posting some exclusive content on We the Free TV.
Okay.
So on We the Free TV, and we still have all of our content on YouTube. But I got to tell you, YouTube has been deplatforming us every day. Another episode they're yanking.
Really?
So,
yeah.
On We the Free TV, I'm cutting together some greatest hits of every season. We're technically in season 9. So it's been 9 years we've been doing this show. So I'm putting together like a half hour-ish of sound bites of all the cool stuff from each. So that's actually been taking a lot of time to edit because there's so many episodes. And it's like, well, I don't want to miss any good stuff. So I kind of have been going back and watching our catalog and looking back at it now. Matt and I were kind of rough in that first season, but we started to get our sea legs, around the middle of season 2. So those are available. We put up some fresh content the other day. As far as where we're going to move, I'm still going to post on YouTube, but it's just becoming so unfriendly. I want to try to move that back catalog. I'm not sure if we're going to be putting that on ASP Unlimited or if we're going to or on another platform. But new programs we got coming out are definitely going to be going into We the Free. And so Matt and I are discussing maybe doing some unique content for ASP and some unique content for We the Free, and then our back catalog in maybe a third place, or split it up or put it on both. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, the YouTube is very scary at this point in time. For those of us who anything to do with firearms, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean they're hitting us and when they send it back, they'll tell you exactly what frame the violation occurred. It's on frame 3 of our entry or of our opening sequence, and there's like nothing there, not even an image of a firearm. It's like, and so you protest, but you're protesting to a robot, and obviously the decision has been made. So we're being deplatformed, and I'm okay with that. We got some good opportunities. John Correa has been wonderful and gracious of letting us be on his ASP Unlimited channel, and the guys over at We the Free TV are giving us the opportunity to post content in there. That's pretty fantastic. So Matt Mallory and I always have something going on. So we'll have something cool coming out here soon.
Well, since you've been going through your back catalog, what is one of your favorite episodes you found so far?
Oh, I got to tell you, the episodes with Ashley Lubinsky are always the fun. They're always very fun.
Yeah.
because she's like a barrel of monkeys, and she's such a wealth of knowledge about gun nerd stuff. You know, she can tell you the size of the shoe the guy that invented and designed this, you know, detent pin for this particular machine gun. Uh, maybe not quite that.
But
Of course,
close. Close
Ian
enough.
McCollum is another great one. He's been on, his show Forgotten Weapons, and he's got a few other things, in range TV. He was a lot of fun to have on. Just as another guy that just knows so much about guns and the history of firearms and manufacturing. So those were some cool episodes. I have to say, the Masad Ayub episode we did years ago was fantastic. Just he was so gracious with his time, and got into a lot of really cool stuff, some things that I hadn't really considered. And that led to us hosting him for his Deadly Force instructor class. And that was like game changer for me, taking that class with him. It was 40 hours of working with him in the classroom, and it just completely changed my mindset on how everything I teach, not only does it need to empower people and help them to protect themselves and help them plan to protect themselves post-event, but everything I say as an instructor, how can I make that more court defensible so that if called in, I can be an asset to my students after the fact? You know, for the most part, as an instructor, we can't do anything for anybody once they press trigger. If they're left with no other choice and they use that level of force or any force to defend themselves post-event, I can't do nothing for them. Maybe I could be called in for an expert witness. But if I am called in for an expert witness, how can I really help them by maybe educating that jury or educating the folks in the legal system on what they knew based upon the education that they received from the training that I gave them? So really, really awesome class. But that was cool. It was really awesome when Matt got to interview Donald Trump Jr. Although I didn't actually get to partake in that interview. We were scheduled at SHOT Show one year to sit down with Donald Trump Jr. And he's just a very, very cool, interesting guy. I got to host a rally for him and Ted Nugent in Pittsburgh a number of years ago in one of those elections. And so he's just a really inspiring, like, go get him kind of very positive, energetic person. So I really wanted to do that interview, and we had it set up for like a Monday at SHOT Show, and his people called and said, we need to bump it to Tuesday and then bump it. And I was only there for half the week. And so Matt ended up doing the interview with him like on the Thursday after I had left. And it's a bit of a bummer, but it was really great to see Matt do that interview with him and that opportunity for our show just to have him on. But some of the best interviews are just regular old folks like us. You know, we've talked to many people who have had Lyme disease, or, you know, that are hunters, or, you know, Thomas Yoxel, who is just a regular guy that saved a police officer's life alongside the road because he was armed and he was able to step and administer aid to a law enforcement officer that was getting attacked alongside the road. I think it was in Arizona. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot of really amazing people in this industry, and a lot of people that have served our country and been selfless and sacrificed, you know, their life and livelihood for this country, and in the military, and other people that have done the same thing in their communities and you know, in law enforcement or in advocacy.
And this is why it takes so long for you to get the greatest hits, because a lot of it sounds absolutely great.
Yeah, Rebecca Schmoy, I always love having her on the show.
Oh, my favorite arch nemesis. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's a barrel of monkeys too. Yeah, there's been so many people in that. We've been very blessed to have some pretty awesome guests. And
I have to say, Rebecca Schmo is also my favorite interviewee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, so back when I was with Women for Gun Rights, which back then was DC Project, she and I got to do a counter argument thing where that's why I call her my arch nemesis, is because I think she was pro-gun and I was anti-gun, or vice versa. I think we had to do both ways. And we had so much fun when we were down at WAFT, because it was so much fun. But yes, and she's taken it to another level. And here's the other thing I think that I don't know if people understand. Fighting for your Second Amendment rights and understanding them is becoming active in America's government and becoming more aware of what being an American really means. Because I can tell you, I knew nothing. until someone said, hey, you should do something about that. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So just warning you, it's sort of like the Kool-Aid. Once you get in and you start learning that you can do something, then that's why it's even harder for Clint and I to say no to things when people ask us. We're like, yes, we can do one more thing. So speaking of one more thing, next year, 2027, do you know it off the top of your head? What is the date for the 10th annual National Train a Teacher Day for 2027 in June?
It's June 19th, and it overlaps with Juneteenth, so I don't know if that's going to cause a problem or not. But in the 10 years we've done it, that weekend has always been the most successful. A couple years we tried it earlier. One year when with the whole government lockdown thing, we tried it in August, and that particular weekend is the magic weekend for the best chance of success nationally. So it'll be June 19th, 2027. So that's a Saturday.
We'll put some kind of link in the description here because we've talked about 5 million things. But people understand you can sign up as whether you're an individual instructor, whether you've got a range that will hold something, whether you're at a school. What are all the resources? What give me the top things that people want to know how they can help support Train a Teacher Day?
The biggest way to help support Train a Teacher Day is spread the word and see if you can get people who are teachers, school staff, administrators, or anyone that works with youth in a leadership capacity aware of the program and in touch with the volunteer instructors so we can help organize events locally. I have a lot of instructors who have volunteered, and really the deal is if you're a volunteer instructor, you commit to giving free training to people of that under that group for free on that day. You know, some folks, like one of my dear mentors, Rob Pincus, he typically will, if anyone calls him and they're a teacher, he'll give them a free slot in their in his class that he's teaching that day. You know, and I've got other folks that are putting on specific purpose-built training for teachers on that day. And, you know, the training varies from, you know, defensive training, awareness training, gun shooty training, to gun safety training, to first aid. You know, there's something that is available to anyone that has any idea of taking on responsibility to protect our children. So, you know, hey, being able to use a tourniquet, like that's a great class to take. And, you know, techniques on hardening your classroom and deterrence. The other thing is too, by participating, the goal is to help to inform people who can then go into the school boards and go into the leadership and talk locally to, you know, representatives and move the needle on things that could make people more safer in schools, you know, changing policy and getting laws changed. And I have to say, I can't imagine that we're the only reason that some of those things have happened. But when you look at if you look at the landscape of school security now compared to what it was when we started National Train a Teacher Day, and I'm sure we're only one minute part of that needle moving, but it's a much different world. You know, more schools have armed people inside their schools. More schools have resource officers. More schools have done some type of hardening to their schools to make it harder to get into. And so we're seeing a change, and I'd like to think we had some little part to do with that. But the best thing is, like, spread the word. Of course, if you're an instructor and you want to volunteer and offer your time, you know, by all means, we have a volunteer page on there, and I do a little vetting process on it, and then I list you on our site. The site is very remedial. It just gives people a means to contact you directly. But I also provide marketing materials and talking points and things like that. But yeah, next year will be the 10th. And I'll say it here, I would love to start grooming someone to take it over. I would love it to continue on, but it's getting to the point where I don't think I'm sacrificing National Train a Teacher Day to do some of the other things that I'm doing, and I don't know if that's good for the cause. Gotcha. So if anyone's interested in maybe stepping up, maybe work with me and co-administer during the 10th anniversary, and then the 11th I can tag it off.
There you go. Absolutely. Building mentors is definitely something that happens in this community without a doubt. I will, yes, it's one of those things where this is 2026 right now. In 2 years, it will be 10 years of Suicide Prevention Saturday, which is what Mental Health Matters was originally called. And my goal is to get to my 10 years and then we're done, because 10 years is a long time to do something for. So, and we've got Walk the Talk America now. So, I mean, I can just hand off to them. There it is. There it is. All right. So with that, anything else on the horizon? Learning to say no. So many. When is the album coming out? Where can we find stuff like that?
Yeah.
Where can
When
we
that's
find
done,
you?
I'll probably just put it up on Facebook and let people download it or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something else with it, but
Yeah.
that'll be a while. I still got a bunch of things to sing and some new guitar parts to put down, but I'm picking away at it.
Well, you're not going to give us any teasers like a song versus the entire thing being done?
I suppose I could do that. I suppose I've got a couple songs I could mix right now. Yeah, just a matter of carving out the time to do it.
Yes, because time is our most precious modicum thing that we own is our time. So with that, I want to thank you for all of your time, and thank you for reminding me that we had this interview tonight. And thanks for sitting down with me impromptu, even though our batteries died in the middle of that. And
I was glad to see that the batteries lasted as long as they did.
yes, there is
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And thank you for being my training counselor and inviting me in and helping me along my journey, because I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for your help and introducing me to all of the things that you have.
No, I think you'd be doing just fine. Don't sell yourself so short. But I'm honored to have been some small part of your success, and I hope to be able to fulfill that role moving forward. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Of course, never. All right. Like I said, we'll try to get a bunch of different links down here because we've talked about so very much. And that's it. That's what we got for today. So everybody who stayed in for this mega event, I think, Clint, you now win for the longest mental health night.
O'Doyle rules.
I got one viewer out there. His name's G23 out on YouTube's. And he will be all excited that this went over an hour. So there is that. And yeah, anybody has questions, leave comments below. Clint, we will meet again sometime in the future. And I always look forward to seeing you and working with you. And I don't know. That's it. We're out, I guess. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.